So today is September 11th. Today is what? How many years has it been? So 19 years since 9/11. Let's just reflect a little bit. I'm trying to reflect where I was in my life, what was going on, and let's see. 2001. I was 22 years old. The day before it happened, I was in the hospital. I had a nervous breakdown. I have thyroid problems, as you can probably tell. Hypothyroidism, and also Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And, there's a lot of mental health issues with depression and anxiety and a whole litany of really bad symptoms that I was suffering from. So I remember, I was probably in there for 4 or 5 days. I did an inpatient stay. I was so bad, and I don't even know if I was suicidal. I probably was. I at least had a death wish. I know that. So long ago. But yeah, I did an inpatient stay, and and I always say, if you need it, go. Don't be ashamed if you need help with your mental health at any time. I've learned to become an advocate for mental health. I've worked in the field of mental health. I'm pretty open about it. If you ask any questions, I'll answer pretty much anything about my mental health. I've been going through these problems for over 20 years. So it's like, I'm a seasoned veteran when it comes to surviving mental health. But besides the point, so September 11th, 2001, I woke up very groggy. I was on some new medication that they gave me, likely an antidepressant. So I was feeling really horrible, and I just remember seeing it on TV, kind of like everyone else did. I think I got up late, too. I think it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. And I just woke up to the chaos. That's all I remember. I remember just feeling like things will never be the same again. It's one of those life-changing moments you might have once or twice in a lifetime where things will be different indefinitely from this point on. And, just feeling that, it's just a life-changing thing for the worst. I mean, the Bush years were some of the worst of my life for multiple reasons, not just because it was George Bush, which is reason enough to be miserable. The guy was a miserable failure. There's nothing good about George W. Bush that I can remember from his 8 years. But yeah. Now we're still 19 years later living in a post 9/11 hellscape, with the Patriot Act still being renewed on a regular basis by Democrats and Republicans. Our civil liberties are still at stake constantly because of it, being detained indefinitely without reason. It's a good reason to be scared. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a legitimate reason for things to go wrong. So we're still dealing with that. But when it comes to terrorism in 2020, there's no Muslim terrorists in America. I mean, if it is, it's so minuscule it doesn't even register. The terrorism we have now, which I believe DHS and other organizations in the government are going to deem white supremacists terrorists and a legitimate threat to the public. So this has been long overdue. I think Kenosha really kicked this off when they see all these far right-wing militias starting to kill people, starting to kill protesters, starting to kill. So they're making moves now. They're making moves against white nationalists, white supremacists, and these far right-wing hate groups, because with this election coming up, you know, if Trump loses, or when he loses, you know, they're going to be hitting the streets. They're going to be causing problems. They're going to be causing a lot of problems for the foreseeable future. So if you deem them a hate group, certain actions can now be implemented, and the threat of them can be more neutralized if they're deemed a legitimate, like, terror cell, for instance, or whatever. You know, there's going to be more government entities can do against white supremacy, white terrorism, and, you know, that's a good thing. This is so long overdue. Like, how can we go this long in America without having the KKK be designated a terror group? Like, how? How is that even possible? But groups like that are now going to be deemed terrorist organizations, and therefore can be treated a certain way and allocated certain resources to fight. So that's a good thing. But as far as Muslim terrorism, or, you know, as far as I know, we created it. We created more of it by having all these wars in the Middle East. We did nothing to remedy anything since 9/11 when it comes to the so-called war on terror. If anything, we've inflamed terrorism, and we are still doing it. We're still in Afghanistan. We're still in Iraq. We're still all around the Middle East. And, you know, nothing's changed. So, it's just ridiculous, man. But, anyways, I'm just getting off track here. So I'm just trying to reflect a little bit, you know. And I did some real genuine reflecting today, and even some mourning with the survivors, because this is the day we remember those people who died. And I did that today, and I watched some of the presentation of the name readings, and, you know, focused on the people, and, you know, like, my heart was just broken for them. You know, it was so sad, and so I just kind of silently grieved with them and thought back about the people, because, you know, we get lost in, you know, 9/11 just being trivial now, and it's almost 2 decades later, and it's like, okay. But no, thousands of people died, real lives were affected. Those people are dead and gone, and their families suffer. And they always suffered because it was a shock to the system. It was severe trauma. And I thought about that today, and it'd just be so horrible to live through that. But anyways, what are your thoughts on 9/11, 19 years later? Where were you when it happened? What was going on in your life? Let's just share some thoughts and whatnot. So I'll meet you down in the comments.